yeah, they are sent to this island as a basically a distraction, and put down everybody that you're introduced to. But that's the thing. That's what's so genius is that James Gunn puts all of this time into building up these characters within the first 20 minutes, only to eliminate them. But that, how do you say, like, his introduction is already to these characters that we don't even get to spend time with is already better than the introduction of the core characters and Ayer's version.
Yeah.
Who are you get to be, with them through the whole movie, and fucking Gunn just shits all over that, metaphorically, just to kill all of those same characters within the first 20 minutes. He's like, fuck you, like, I've already made a better movie, and my movie hasn't even started yet. It's
for those people who, for whatever reason, hate Pete Davidson, I highly recommend you seeing this movie just to get some type of, just to be like, yeah, that's what he deserves. But I love Pete Davidson, so it kind of, I was like, oh, damn, I expected this to happen, but I expected a lot of what happened in the first, opening scenes basically to happen, but I didn't expect it to happen that fast and with that magnitude. Pete did, his face gets blown off. The asshole that he is in the show or in the movie, he basically turns on everybody. But I love how, like you said, I love how he kind of builds up these characters in the intro, and you're like, oh man, this is the team. This team looks badass. And he kills him. Like you said, gone. You go from having a team of 9 people or 8 people, however many it was, to a team of 2. All the only ones that are left are Harley and Rick Flag. Weasel dies in the first. He doesn't even get to start the mission.
He drowns. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it Amanda Waller is like, or the Wall? She gets really pissed, and they're like, nobody fucking checked to see if the weasel could swim first.
Yeah. Oh, and she's looking around like, who the fuck didn't do their job? And all of them are kind of just like looking at their computers, like side-eyeing her, like, oh shit, don't look at me.
And there's like a meta sensibility there too to that intro, because they're all, something's wrong because everybody that's running the mission are like putting bets on the everybody that just landed on the island, like who's gonna die and who's gonna survive.
Yeah. I love one thing that I want to. We're getting kind of into characters, but not really. But the one thing that kind of bummed me out was the killing of Captain Boomerang. I know Jai Courtney is not a beloved actor in Hollywood, but he did grow on me in the first. I feel like he was a shining character in the first Suicide Squad, and we get to see him just for a little bit. And I love the interaction between him and Harley. How you can tell that they've been they're seasoned in this Suicide Squad world, because when Harley pops up, he's like, hey Hobbs, what are you doing here? What are you doing back in prison, babe? And then she's like, oh, I robbed a bank or something, just. He's like, oh, okay, cool, good to see you. But I love their interaction, and you can tell that they've been doing this for a while, and he's kind of like, he's joking with everyone else. He's like, oh, you all don't know that we're in just one big freezer. We're hanging meat, basically, in a cooler for bodies. And, I was disappointed to see his character die that fast. But, man, such a good opening to kill off all those characters was pretty ballsy for him. And I love that he wasn't afraid to do that.
Yeah, killing Boomerang was like, wow, that was shocking, especially the way that it happens.
Yeah,
it's so brutal, because you just get smacked in the face with Pete Davidson being sniped in the face, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then the shit goes south, and he's Boomerang is like obliterated by a chopper burning down, and then everybody else tries to kind of be badass and save the day, and they just get murdered. Everybody besides Harley, I think, right, is left on the beach.
Yeah, and Flag, he kind of runs into the forest or the jungle.
That's right, he runs away. I can't believe they set up Flag they sent him on that literal suicide mission. I thought that was
crazy to me.
That's pretty fucked up because you
would think that that's more like Amanda Waller's number one, basically.
Yeah, but and then you realize, like, I guess everybody's expendable in a sense. Yeah. But yeah, Flag. Let's talk about Flag a little bit. He's Joe Kinnaman's awesome.
Yes.
It was awesome. I'm glad that they brought him back, and I liked him a lot more in this one, although he also passes away because of Peacemaker, which is unfortunate, but that's a great fight. And it's that death is kind of earned. It doesn't feel cheap, and you're kind of shocked. You're shocked by it, because I feel like everybody, I don't know what it is about Kinnaman, but at least I wasn't expecting that in that fashion.
No, I wasn't. I was. I knew it was gonna. I had the feeling it was gonna happen once that scene started to progress. Once Peacemaker shows up and he's like, I can't let you leave with that. And I automatically in my head, I'm like, fuck, he's gonna die. Like it was an automatic trigger in and I knew it was coming, but I didn't know how, and I was expecting it. Once that started to play out, you're totally right though. The fight sequence was great. They were beating the shit out of each other. I think I loved Rick Flag's line at the end. Basically, his last line in the movie, he says, "Peacemaker, what a joke," and he plops over and dies. And you get to see this look, which I thought was great from John Cena for Peacemaker. This look of kind of like, maybe I did take it too far, for peace. I loved his look. Kind of almost, you could sense that he kind of had some kind of remorse for what he did, but then it automatically goes away once Ratcatcher 2 picks up the hard drive again, and he's kind of like, okay, now I got to kill you, because now you're trying to get this information out. But yeah, I totally agree with you also with Rick Flag. Joel Kinnaman, I thought I liked him way more in this than in the first one. I feel like his character was more I don't know, it's just something about just having James Gunn around and kind of fleshing out the character and giving him more range. I don't know, he was more relatable as this version than in the David Ayers version.
Yeah, and the first one, I feel like he's just complaining the whole time, and then he's trying to drop one-liners, and it's just not working for him. And he's just in the background where you kind of forget about him. And this, he's actually given a time to shine, and he goes out in a great way. You know what I mean? And I really enjoyed even little details, like his yellow shirt is a throwback to the character in the comic books who was wearing, always wearing that neon kind of yellow T-shirt. So it was awesome. But jumping to Peacemaker, as we were talking about before we got into the main focus, one of John Cena's best roles so far. I love how he's the most ridiculous looking in this, especially going into just the teaser. You're like, what the fuck is he wearing? Is this a joke? Really? But then it makes sense because of how when you read about the film and the influences, it's very much like a throwback to 70s action films. Well, when you put it into that perspective, his costume and everything kind of makes more sense. And then I feel like you can see that he's having so much fun, but then taking it so serious at the same time. And I feel like him was Peacemaker, John Cena, and was Bloodsport's Idris Elba share what might be the best scene in the entire film when they think they're on a rescue mission to find Flag on that island, and they pretty much go through this camp and they murder all of these mercenaries, not
all the rebels.
Yeah, not knowing where what their relation is to the mission or anything. Just assuming that they're bad guys. And, it becomes this competition between Peacemaker and Bloodsport, who can do the better kill. And the choreography and everything that they go through is so damn hilarious. Especially, again, going back to the fact that it's rated R. They just nailed this kind of, streamlined consciousness of comedy and action. And it's beautiful, And I don't think I'm alone in thinking that that's one of my favorite bits of the entire movie.
Yeah, they're basically trying to see who can kill, basically who has the coolest kills throughout this whole sequence. And I there's one scene that is just done so effortlessly, and it kind of, if you're not really paying attention, you might miss it because it's maybe like a 3-second, 4-second thing. But John Cena walks by a guy who's sleeping in a hammock, and he takes out a pickaxe, and as he walks by the guy, not so nonchalantly, stabs him about 10 times, like from his waist up to his head, and then he keeps walking by him. And every step is like 3 strikes to the guy's body, and it's so hilarious because he's just like, bam, 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 and then he keeps walking, and the whole time these guys are competing to see who has the best kills or who looks cooler doing it, whatever. I love the line with towards the end where John Cena shoots a guy behind him, and he's like, oh, like he shot the guy in the shoulder or whatever, and Idris Elba Bloodsport's like, oh, like non-lethal, you lose, and then he's like, compression bullet. And then the guy explodes from the inside, and he's like, nobody likes a show off to a Peacemaker. And he's like, yeah, but unless what you're showing off is badass,
or he's like
unless it's cool as shit or whatever.
Or cool as
and
fuck.
He's like, fuck. He's right. And he says it under his breath as he's walking away. Oh, it was so hilarious. I love that scene so much. Like you said, John Cena, I think he fully gave into this character and gave it 110% for this. And one thing, I don't know if you saw any of the premiere photos with the cast and stuff when they went to go see to watch the movie themselves. John Cena was the only one who was dressed up like Peacemaker at the premiere. Everyone else was wearing like suits and whatever to look nice. They're all wearing their Gucci and Louis Vuitton and whatever it may be. But he's the one. He's wearing the actual costume with the helmet. I thought that was hilarious, and it turns out it was to promote not only the film but the Peacemaker series that's going to be coming out pretty soon here, I guess, probably within the next 6 months or so. But I just thought that was hilarious for him to do that, and you can tell that he just loves doing. He loved doing this character just from his acting. I don't know if it was just, like I said before, just the influence of James Gunn or giving him free range to kind of do whatever he wants, or whatever the case may be. I know whenever this comes out in on Blu-ray or 4K or whatever, I'm sure they're going to have behind-the-scenes stuff, and I'd love to watch that. I love watching those things anyways, but I'd love to see how James interacted with everybody. I know a lot of people love working with him.
Who else? What about let's talk about Ratcatcher. She was awesome. I love her story of basically her origin. You get it within origin story in 5 minutes, but I love that you get to see kind of where she comes from, and her story was tragic, really, to think about. With her father playing Taika Waititi, you wouldn't know it was him until the very end. I didn't know it was him until I think the last time they do a flashback and you get to hear him talking, and
I was like, holy shit, it's fucking Taika Waititi. That's amazing. And for him to do that and